Yes, now everyone, welcome back to the predictions videos. They're back. A-League is back. Get excited. We're getting really close. Literally starts tonight of the A-League season. Make sure you are subscribed because we've got weekly predictions coming out. We've got a lot of content. We're doing a watch along for the Sydney Derby, so make sure you're subscribed to the channel and you don't miss our video. But without further ado, let's get into the predictions and meet today's guest. To kick off the start of the new A-League season, I thought who better to bring on the predicts first week than the man that got every game right last year, and that was Marty from the Marty Mariner Show. How you doing, and how excited are you for another season of the A-League?
Mate, I'm doing real well. Yeah, excited. As we were saying before, it just seemed to be, it's coming. That's a month away, and all of a sudden it's tomorrow night. So, mate, I'm excited. I think this is going to be a bit different this season. I think we've got a number of horses in the race. So, yeah, thanks for throwing us under the bus under the first round, mate. Appreciate it trying to guess all these things going on, but let's have a bit of fun, right?
All right, first game is a grand final rematch. It's a massive one. Central Coast Mariners taking on Melbourne Victory. And I think for me, this all comes down to how Victory bounced back after that Australia Cup final loss, because that's a hard one to take down there in your home stadium. It's just whether they can bounce back and get that momentum running quickly again under Patrick Kuznorbo. Central Coast Mariners, they've lost a lot of key players over this offseason. Josh Nisbet, Max Ballard, but they've got a lot of youth coming through. Also, just found out today, Trent Sainsbury will be out until 2025. That's a massive central defensive loss, but they've got the talent there to, adequate that loss of Trent Sainsbury. You got Nathan Paul, you got Lucas Moragas. It's a very talented squad still. Who do I think is going to come out on top, though? It's a very, very interesting one, but I am going to go for a draw on this one, and I think I'm going to stick it at a 1-1 draw for this. Maybe, no, let me change that. I'm going to go for a 2-2 draw. I think there's going to be goals. A-League's back. I think the goals are back. That's what the A-League is known for, right? Producing these goals, producing these wild moments. I think it's going to start off with a bang. Maybe a late equaliser by one of these teams. So I'm going to go for a 2-2 draw in this one. First game, a grand final rematch. Your Mariners taking on Melbourne Victory at Industry Group Stadium. Do we think that the Mariners are going to get over the line again, or do Melbourne Victory get their vengeance in this game?
Mate, I think I'd be booted off the Central Coast Mariners social media pages if I got any other prediction than a Mariners win. Look, it's going to be tough. I mean, obviously we're not the side from last year. We've lost players, we've lost experience, but and we've also got to say we lost the first 4 games last year as well. The Asian Cup hasn't been great, but I think we're going to get up. I'm going to make it a 2-1. I think we're going to scrape in there, but it's going to be a toughie. But I'm just going on the fact of the enthusiasm of the boys. Last time out, you just can't discount them. And, I think we've got the best, I know we've got the best coach in the league. And if anyone can get us over the line, mate, it's Mark Jackson. So, 2-1 to the mighty Central Coast Mariners.
Next game, Auckland taking on Brisbane. And it's a big one for Auckland. Their first home game, their first game in the A-League, first game in professional game ever. But how will they be able to take on Brisbane Roar, who have done a lot of recruiting? Their international talents, especially, that come through, have really impressed me. Acosta, Struik, who will play up front. It's a very interesting team that Ruben Zadkovic has put together. Auckland, though, they've got their massive crowd behind them. It looks like it's going to be a sellout. It's a massive day over there in Auckland, but who do I have picking up points from this game? I've actually got both teams picking up points. I think it's going to be a draw again. I'm sitting on the fence. I'm going to go, though, for this one. I think it's going to be a 1-1 draw. I think maybe a late equaliser from Brisbane. It's going to, once again, I think it's going to be a late equaliser from one of these two teams, but I think the Auckland crowd will get behind them and give them that little bit of a boost. So I wouldn't be surprised if Auckland came out on top, but I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw to start off with. And then the second game of the week, it's the new boys, Auckland FC, taking on Brisbane Roar in what sounds like it's going to be basically a sellout over in Auckland. Should be good to see a new team in the A-League, and it's one with a good backing behind it as well, by the sounds of it.
Yeah, absolutely. Hearing nothing but good things from down that way. They've really, come in with a bit of a bang. They've made some impressive signings as well. And, I'm certainly looking forward to an Auckland-Wellington game coming up soon. But, look, I can't see Auckland wanting anything but a win first up. You'd hate to have your first ever game in the league and not get the 3 points, surely. They've had some pretty decent results through the trials and in the off-season. I think it'll be a 2-0 to Auckland. Got to look after our main man, Dan Hall, as well, playing over there for Auckland, so we'll keep an eye out for him as well. But, look, I can't see anything but an Auckland win, and good luck to him. But, let's go 2-0 to the home team.
Next one, Newcastle Jets taking on Melbourne City. Two teams that haven't really impressed me much with their ins and, their pre-season, especially in the Australia Cup. Neither team really did that well. Melbourne City, they got 5 goals scored against them, against Perth Glory. Like, that's not a Melbourne City performance, right? But Newcastle Jets, they're looking very positive under Rob Stanton. Maybe a better season, maybe a more consistent season is what they need. And I think I've got them coming out on top in this first game. I'm going to go for a Newcastle Jets win. I just like their youngsters coming through. That's the main thing. They've got the young talent. They've already had a season to prepare for this. Majority of their players last year were these young players that have stayed around. So I think they're going to be able to produce a bit more consistency this season. I'm going to go for a Newcastle Jets win, and I'm actually going to go for a 3-1 Newcastle Jets win. Next up, the Newcastle Jets take on Melbourne City. Two teams that didn't have the greatest Australia Cup runs, but two teams that look like they're going in once again, a very heavy youth direction, and very exciting to watch.
Yeah, I think this will be a really interesting game. I mean, far be it from me to be on the bus of the Newcastle Jets, but they do. They've got some talented young fellas, and it's a bit of an all change at Melbourne City as well. I think this will be a tight one. I'm actually going to tip a 1-1 draw in this one. I don't think there'll be enough for either team to get a win. In saying that, could be 5-0 to one team. You just never know. It's the first round. But look, there's some players there from Newcastle that I'm looking forward to seeing playing during the year, and I think Melbourne City's got enough quality through their team as well, despite their changes. But I think it'll be a tough one up there. I think they're going to share the points, 1-1.
Next up, the big one, the Sydney Derby out at CommBank Stadium. One matter. Can he provide that bit of flair for Western Sydney Wanderers going forward? Douglas Costa, can he do the same for Sydney FC? Can he, him and Joe Lolly combine to find Klamala in the middle? It's going to be a very interesting game. Obviously, you've got Wahim as well from Sydney FC. I really like the look of him, especially in those ACL 2 games. He looks really good. I do have the Wanderers coming out on top, though. My bias probably showing through a little bit. I'm going to go for a very close one. I'm going to go for a 1-0 Wanderers win. I think it's going to be, your almost Cassini-Yengi-like moment. Your Zach Saps from last season. It's going to be one of those moments, catch him on the break and score just that crucial goal to take the game by the scruff of the neck. So Wanderers 1-0 for me. And then the big one next up, the Saturday night game, the Sydney Derby. Your Juan Mata, your Douglas Costa. And of course, it sounds like, again, a sellout game at CommBank Stadium. Who are we tipping to come out on top of this one? Because this, for me, game of the round.
Mate, as a neutral, and I'm very much going to claim myself as a neutral for this one, it's just going to be a cracker. The atmosphere is going to be second, and what a way. I mean, we're talking about a grand final rematch to kick off the season, but I just can't wait to watch this one. I'm actually tipping the Wanderers. I'm actually thinking that, they're going to start their season with a bit of a bang. No disrespect to Sydney. They're going to be there when the whips are cracking this year. I just got a feeling about the Wanderers. I think they've got a good coach in Stadge. I think he will bring enough balance to that team. I think he'll be able to get it right. They've got some quality and in the right areas. And I think it'll be a sneaky little 1-0 win to the Wanderers for mine. But can't wait to watch the game. Can't wait.
Wellington Phoenix next taking up Western United. And this is a big one. Wellington, can they continue their form under Chiefy? Can Western United pick up a bit of form? Because the last couple of seasons just haven't been that inspiring for Western United. And John Aloisi, he's coming into the final year of his contract, JA. So can he pick up a few more results and get himself that renewal? Can these youngsters that are coming through at Western United that are showing a lot of prospect and, you know, they're looking really, really good, those youngsters at Western United, can they provide, you know, some contributions at an A-League level? I'm not 100% sure of that. I think Wellington have recruited well as well. They've lost a lot of key players, but I think they've recruited fairly well. Marco Rojas and Paolo Retro, for me, I think they're in for a couple of big seasons, supplying the ball to Costa Barbarousas up top. So I'm going to go with a Wellington win, and I'm going to go with a 2-1 Wellington win. Next up, Wellington Phoenix. The first time we have 2 games in New Zealand in a round, but they take on Western United, who, once again, another team trusting in their youth. But Wellington Phoenix, can they carry over their form from last season under Giancarlo Italiano?
Yeah, it's going to be the big question. I mean, they had a mammoth season last year, played some really good football. Were there, you know, all but in the end of it. But I don't know. I'm going to tip them. I'm going to tip Wellington to get up 1-0 in this one over Western United. I just think that there's still, you know, there's good quality there. I think that whole thing about home teams playing in the opening round, just, you know, I think it adds that bit of a boost. It's a freshness of a season. Everyone wants to get on the right foot. So, to me, I think Wellington will get over the line. I think it'll be a bit of a scrappy game. I think from what I've seen, both sides are still finding their feet a little bit. Obviously, it's, you know, it's very, very early days, but in particular these guys. So, yeah, I think Wellington will get over the line. I think it'll be 1-0. And yeah, be interesting to see how both these teams go this year, because I think there's potential for them both to kick on, but they also could struggle if things don't go well.
And last but not least, MacArthur taking on Perth Glory in the late Sunday afternoon kickoff game. MacArthur, the Australia Cup champions, can they take on a very youthful and new prospect-looking Perth Glory side? They've gone for a whole gut out of the club. They've brought in a lot of these young players who look really good. If it wasn't for that red card in that Australia Cup game, could they have got past Moreton City Excelsior? We'll never know. But they did crash out of the cup after looking very promising even in that game and in the games before that. So can Perth Glory, you know, recapture that form that they had at the start of the Australia Cup? Not 100% sure, especially going away for their first match to MacArthur. I think the MacArthur crowd will show out because, you know, they're Australia Cup champions. It's the first time they're showing that off to their crowd this season. Obviously, they've done it before, but this season, I think it's going to be a pretty decent first crowd. I'm going to go for a MacArthur win, and I'm going to go for a 2-0 MacArthur win as well. Last game of the opening round, MacArthur taking on Perth Glory, the Sunday afternoon kickoff. The Australia Cup champions, can they put the form from the Australia Cup into the league? Because last time they won the Australia Cup, they couldn't do that.
Absolutely. And I'll be honest, I didn't expect them to be the Australian Cup champions. I thought that would be going elsewhere in Sydney. But look, I think this is a really tough one. I think Perth has sort of shown some glimpses that things are happening for them out there. If this was in Perth, I'd be tipping Perth. I just don't know. Look, again, I'm going to stick true to, I mean, I've pretty much done it most results bar the Newcastle game. I think I'm going to stick with, I'm going to go with MacArthur as a 1-0. It could well end up being a draw, but we'll take the 1-0. Yeah, neither team has sort of stepped up and, you know, fully impressed, but I can just see enough in it, particularly with Perth. I think they could well be a dark horse this year. Very much ones to keep an eye on. And, you know, MacArthur have been there, done it. Australian Cup champs, they've already got a trophy in the cabinet. So, yeah, they've got to get some confidence from that. So, let's keep that going and give them a 1-0 win first up.
All good. Thanks for joining us, Marty. Obviously, you've already got a couple of interviews come out so far leading up to the season with Mark Jackson and Lucas Moragas. Is there more to come from you this season?
Oh, look, mate, there might be one or two popping up every now and then. We'll be enjoying the football this weekend, and then we're basically starting the promo for our women's team because they'll be starting the week after that. So, Husband and got a few of the players lined up there as well. But yeah, there'll be interviews all through this season. We've got some people around the place that we've locked in to have an interesting bit of a chat, bit of a chinwag, bit of a conversation with as well, mate. So have to stay tuned. But yeah, catch us on YouTube and pretty much all the podcast platforms now. I always forget them all, but they're all out there somewhere.
No worries. Thanks, Marty.
No worries, mate. Take care.
But there you have it. There are mine and Marty's predictions for this first round of the A-League. Thank you again for Marty for coming on. I'll drop his links all down in the description. Go check him out. He's got some great insight and some great interviews with a lot of the Central Coast Mariners players, men and women. So if you're a Mariners fan or you're just an A-League fan that likes watching player interviews, go check him out because he's got some great insights into it. But there we are. First week of predictions done. Thank you all for watching. Make sure you get down to an A-League game if you can. And if not, make sure you do join my watch along on Saturday night for the Sydney. And if you're not, make sure you do join my watch along on Saturday night for the Sydney derby. It's going to be a big one. Tell all your friends. Bring them on. Subscribe to the channel. Like the video. We've got a massive community growing here at the moment. So keep it going. And we've got a big week of A-League football coming back. It's back, baby. And so are the predictions. So, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you next time.